Hello, and welcome to Secrets of the Short Game. Since over half of all shots played take place inside 50 yards, it is the most important part of the game. And although full swing instruction has improved dramatically over the years, short game instruction has not. In Secrets of the Short Game, I'll show you not just how to get by, but how to have a world-class short game. Now let's get started. Let's just talk about general principles of putting so that we have an understanding. Do we want the putter to go straight back, straight through? Do we want there to be an arc? Well, honestly, there are a million different ways to putt, and there's no one way better than the other. What's best suited for you is what we want to find out. Now, in theory, it would be best to go straight back, straight through, and here's why. If my putter is on a straight back, straight through arc, and I release the putter head correctly, the ball goes right at the camera. If I release the putter head a little early and release the ball early, it goes lower but still at the camera. And if I release it late, it still goes at the camera, only a little bit higher. Now if we have a putter on an arc and I release it perfectly, well, of course the ball goes right to the target. But if I release it a little early, it goes off to the side, and a little late, it goes off to the side. So in theory, we would want the putter to go straight back and straight through. However, it would be very manipulative for us to do that. And so we have to be practical. The putter is going to take a bit of an arc. Now this also will affect what putter we have. For instance, my putter here, which is a heel shafted putter, the head rotates around the axis of the shaft. So there's a lot of closing going on. The putter's releasing and closing through impact. Setting up for putting is very important to be consistent. Also, where your eyes are positioned is probably the most important part of the setup. So I have heard throughout my entire career over and over that the eyes should be directly over the ball. I don't buy into that. In fact, I find it to be incorrect. Your eyes should not be directly over the ball. They should be underneath the ball and behind so you can see down the line. Have you ever seen a sharpshooter with his head over the rifle like this? No. You see him looking right down the barrel. You want your eyes behind the ball so you can look right down the line of the putt. Also, you want them short of the ball so that you can get a bit of an arc on your stroke. If your eyes are directly over the ball, the putter has to go straight back and straight through without any curvature whatsoever. It's a very difficult stroke to obtain. So practically speaking, we need to have our eyes short and behind. As I set up for this putt, I'm going to put a ball on my nose and drop it, and we'll see where it lands. It landed right here. My eyes are behind, looking right down the line, allowing me to see where I want the putter to go and extending it to the target. That's a critical element in being able to see the line, read the line. If our eyes are directly over the ball, there's almost like there's a wall visually we can't see out into the putt. Also in the setup, ball position is critical. It's critical to be consistent, and here's why. As we move the ball back in our stance, we de-loft the putter. As we move the ball forward, we add loft to the putter. So we want to find that one point where the loft on our putter matches and gives us the perfect roll. We should start out at around 4 degrees of loft. That seems to be ideal for an impact. Now, as we move the ball back in our stance, we're de-lofting the putter. And so we need more loft if we play the ball back in our stance. As we move the ball forward, we're adding loft. So we need less loft to start with, because at impact, we want to have 4 degrees. Give or take a half a degree will give us the optimum roll. What is the optimum roll? An optimum roll is when the ball starts out with the equator going almost level to the ground and slowly turning over. And that's what 4 degrees of loft at impact will do. If we have less than 4 degrees of loft, it drives the ball into the ground and the ball will be bouncing. If we hit it with more than 4 degrees of loft, the ball comes up in the air with backspin and then hit the ground bouncing before it starts to roll. Where I choose to play it is off of my instep. I like it right off of my heel here, And this allows me a chance for the putter to have reached the bottom of the arc and actually start ascending at impact. It's already reached the bottom of the arc and it's slightly coming up, and the 4 degrees of loft gets the ball just out of its impression on the green and rolling properly to the hole. Now, although I prefer to have the ball off the instep so that I'm hitting the ball on a slight upswing, you can putt very well from the ball back in your stance. If you do that, one of two things needs to happen. You need to have a lot more loft on your putter, or you need to putt with your hands back. If you like to have the ball even forward of your front foot, you can putt very well doing that also. But you have to have either less loft or you have to putt with your hands way ahead. There's a lot of different ways to make putts. There are a million different strokes, a million ways to make putts, but there's one must in all strokes to be a good putter. That is, your hands have to continue to the target. All good putters have their hands continue down into the target line. If you stop your hands and the putter keeps going, that's first of all a sign of every terrible putter. It looks like that. You're adding loft, you're changing the face angle of the putt. Also, the putter head is traveling faster than your arms. Your arm has stopped and the putter's kept going. It makes it very difficult to control speed. You want your arm and putter to travel at the same speed and to continue down the target line. That's the sign of a good stroke that all good putters have. I've never seen a good putter stop their hands and let the putter keep going. Now, when we continue our hands down the line, which is critical in all good putting, there's a feeling, a sense that the player has of blocking it. We don't continue our hands down the line because we feel like we're going to push it. There are 3 things we can do to get the face to square up so that we can continue our hands down the line and we don't block it. The first thing is we can get a putter that closes more, like I have, which is a heel shafted putter, promoting more of a closing face, more of a hook roll, if you will, but squaring the putter face up quicker. The second thing everyone can do, and that is strengthen your grip. So the top hand, I've heard for so many years, should be opposing to the bottom hand, that they should be fairly equal. But I just don't believe that. I believe the top hand should be a little bit stronger. What this does is promote the closing of the face. This allows us to square up the club face and forces us to follow down the target line, otherwise we'll pull it. This gives the putter head a little more time to square up at impact. So a stronger grip can help us or allow us to extend better down the target line. And the third thing, if we still feel like we're going to block the putt, is we can move the ball slightly forward in our stance. So if I putt off of the heel normally, I might move it up just an inch, and it promotes more of a pull, more of a closing of the putter face to help me square it up. Those are 3 things we can do if we feel like we're going to block the putt to help square it up. There's one must in all strokes to be a good putter. That is, your hands have to continue to the target. If you stop your hands and the putter keeps going, that's a sign of every terrible putter. It looks like that. You want your arm and putter to travel at the same speed and to continue down the target line. There are 3 things we can do to get the face to square up so that we can continue our hands down the line and we don't block it. The first thing is we can get a putter that closes more, like I have, which is a heel shafted putter, promoting more of a closing face, more of a hook roll, if you will, but squaring the putter face up quicker. Strengthen your grip. I believe the top hand should be a little bit stronger. What this does is promote the closing of the face. We can move the ball slightly forward in our stance. So if I putt off of the heel normally, I might move it up just an inch, and it promotes more of a pull, more of a closing of the putter face to help me square it up. Another question is, should I forward press or shouldn't I? Well, a forward press can oftentimes get our hands so far ahead that we de-loft the putter, driving the ball on the ground. But a forward press is also good because it allows us to accomplish the one goal I said is important in putting, which is to continue our hands to the target. When our hands get behind the putter, it's harder to do that. When they're ahead, it's much easier. Therefore, a forward press does have its benefits. What we want to do is keep it minimal so that if I'm able to put the ball on my instep, I can put a slight forward press. Just that tiny movement there gives us the sensation we can keep our hands ahead, but not de-lofting the putter so much it changes the impact condition. Now, we've talked about a number of things in general about putters, ball position, loft, ascending blow, all these things about putting. And all of that combined equates to about 10% of making a putt. The other 90% has to do with face angle, has to do with where the putter face is aimed. That is the most important thing. In fact, I have played in almost 1,000 Pro-Ams in my career, and I have never seen one amateur aim close to being online. Nobody can aim the putter. We'll spend so much time later on in this instructional dealing with how to train your eyes, because face alignment is the most critical thing in putting, and it's exactly why so many different strokes are effective. All that matters is the alignment at impact. I can make the most beautiful stroke, and if my face is wide open, guess what? That's where the ball is going to go. It has nothing to do with the stroke. I can make the most beautiful stroke, and if the face is closed, guess what? That's where the ball is going to go. Where this is aimed is the single most critical element in making putts, which is why I have dedicated so much time to it in this instructional. Dave Pelz and I developed this device called the Putting Tutor, and this device is what has allowed me to work on my alignment. It's also helped with green reading and speed. But where it's really critical is alignment, because that's the biggest and best way for us to work on our putting. Now, what it does is it has a line down the middle of this triangle. As I put the face up against it, I know exactly where I'm aimed. I'm aimed right down this line. And so I take either a little laser or I get behind and I line it up and I put a tee up by the hole. Every time I put the face up against the edge of the tutor, I train my eyes to look at that tee. I train my body and shoulders and feet to aim at that tee so that I'm working on my alignment with my body, but most specifically with the putter face. Then I make a stroke. Now, I obviously pulled that putt to hit this marble. The only way to do that, since I know the face was properly aligned, was with my stroke. That's the fourth area that it helps. I have it on the pro setting. We have moved back a couple of holes so that it's a little bit wider and it's closer to impact. This will make it easier and less discouraging for those first starting out. But ultimately, your goal is to be able to use the pro setting and get every ball started online and through the marbles. If I make a good stroke, I should be able to get this ball through the tutor and into the hole if I have proper speed. Now, I can line up perfect. I can aim perfectly. I can start it on the correct line, and if I hit it too easy, I'm going to miss it low. But it's not because I misread it, it's not because I misaligned, and it's not because I made a bad stroke. I didn't get the right speed. That's an important area to identify. And also, I can have the perfect alignment, the perfect stroke to get the ball through, and if I hit it too hard, I'm going to miss it high. Now, both of those were read perfectly. Both of those putts started exactly on the perfect line, but neither one went in. It wasn't because of the stroke. It wasn't because of the alignment. It was because of speed. We have to identify what it is that's causing us to miss putts before we can solve it. And that's what this is all about. Training our eyes to line up properly, training ourselves to read the green properly, and training our touch to feel the proper speed. Before every round, I'll spend 5 minutes with the tutor doing hooked putts and 5 minutes with the tutor doing sliced putts. Then I'll take the tutor away and go to that exact same spot and try it without the tutor and see if I can still line up properly and get the right speed. But this will be the cornerstone to training our eyes for the proper alignment. It will be the cornerstone to helping us read greens. I get asked all the time, how do you read the greens? I train myself. I can't just look at a green and know it rolls exactly this. The amount of break varies given the speed, and the only way to do that is to be able to hit the putt and to be able to see if the speed is off, if it's too easy, if it's too hard. So I'll hit these putts over and over until I get a good feel on these greens. Now this is what allows me to putt consistently week in and week out on tour when we have varying speeds. A few years ago I spent some time with Jackie Burke, and he shared with me this 3-foot circle drill that he did. It has become the foundation of my short game, and it needs to be the foundation of yours as well. This is the area that is most critical because it's not how well you putt, it's where you putt from. At 3 feet, we can make 97 to 100% of all our putts at 3 feet. But if we move back just 1 foot to 4 feet, that percentage drops down to below 90. And if we move back another 12 inches to 5 feet, that percentage drops down to 75%. And at 6 feet, it falls to 55%. We have an exponential fall off. We need to get every putt and every chip inside this circle. If we can do that, we will make a lot more putts and chips just because of pure physics. If we can get 100 chips or putts inside this circle, we might make 5 or 10 without even trying to get it in the hole just because of the space that the hole occupies. But if we are getting every putt and chip inside a 6-foot circle, we'll be lucky to make 1. This is our goal, to get every putt and every chip inside this 3-foot circle. This is the foundation of our entire short game, this 3-foot drill. From 50 yards, lag putting, every shot that we hit is trying to get inside this 3-foot circle. If that's our goal, we need to become infallible from 3 feet. So I do this 3-foot drill where I make 100 3-footers in a row. I do it 3 or 4 times a week while I'm competing especially. Now that's not necessarily the proper routine for everybody. Maybe it's to just get around the circle once if you're a high handicapper. But this is the foundation, and there's a few tricks to it I'd like to share with you. Now to make these 3-footers, the trick that Jackie Burke taught me is 25-75. We want to go